Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Wednesday. We are continuing our series of Journey Through the Tarot. We are using the Housewife's Tarots by Paul Keppel and Jude Buffum. And this week we are going to be looking at the card, the Hermit. Now, the first impressions on this card, you can see we have this figure relaxing in a very large bubble bath, just kind of a heavenly idea. There is something that's pretty wonderful about disappearing from the rest of the world, having a nice long soak, reading a good book, and staying there until either the water is too cold or you feel ready to play nicely with others. If you'll notice, there are several soap bars at the bottom of the card, all of which say Lux, and this denotes that this solitude is about indulgence and rejuvenation and self-repair. There's a lot of aqua color on this card. That, of course, is indicative of the 1950s aesthetic, but it also emphasizes the element of water, and in this context, this is about the purification aspects of water. Now, if we look at our handy-dandy booklet, there are several key words, meditation, solitude, and soul-searching. Now, for those of us who appreciate a nice long bath, we know that this is an excellent time, if not for formal meditation, but at least a time for zoning out, of just closing the door on the entire rest of the world, having a little peace and quiet, being off to ourselves. Maybe we're thinking about how to solve the world's problems. Maybe we are, page 100 out of 200 in a book, but we are not taking on any further worries. We're not taking on any further anxieties. We are letting the water soak that away. Now, booklet has this to say about the meaning of the card. It says, "We all need some time to ourselves, so try shutting out the world and indulging in some well-deserved me time. Mix a cup of your favorite General Foods International coffee, take the phone off the hook, and lock yourself in the bathroom. Fasten your eye mask and sink into a bubble bath for some soul-searching and meditation. Calgon, take me away." So when this comes up in a reading, that is the general feeling that we have with this particular card. Other Hermit cards and other decks, it does have a slightly different emphasis, but if you're working with this deck, this is your baseline. However, there are three things I really want to bring out about this. Definitely three. First, this does convey the idea of deliberate isolation. Now, this isn't always a bad thing, particularly in a world that is constantly plugged in. Our species did not evolve to be constantly on display or for have every moments of our life take place in public view. And that's the way it feels on social media. Just, there are eyes constantly on you. And of course, there's all sorts of issues with, companies keeping tabs on you, the state keeping tabs on you. And of course, in the days of paranoia with COVID, your neighbors keeping an eye on you, seeing if you're following the restrictions or not. I mean, it's just constantly being on the hook and being under a microscope. That isn't healthy. It really, really is not. I mean, not for the people doing it and not for those of us on the receiving end. This is actually a new form of stress, and we have only begun to learn to understand and much less cope with it. Between the social media and just the constant being involved in the tech world and never getting away from a screen, it seems like, this is a new experience for us as a species. Now, on top of that, we all have individual needs about the amount of privacy we require. Some of us, it's more than others. I would say for all of us that perhaps we're getting more of a need for privacy than even our natures would otherwise dictate, just because of the environment we're in. So periodic isolation is necessary, and it's even healthy, whether it's taking a bubble bath or whether it's taking a nice long walk in the woods, leaving the phone behind, just getting some peace and quiet and not being plugged into the machine. So that is definitely something to keep in mind when this comes up for our own personal readings or if we're working with another querent. Second thing when this comes up is that it signals a need for spiritual refreshment. Now, two of the key words, meditation and soul searching, that has a very close relationship with the idea of spirituality as a whole. Looking deep within is one way to discern our natural connection with divine energies And that requires quiet time as well as a lot of patience and some devotion to this process. And of course, as we learn, we need meditation again to help us digest the lessons that we're taught. So, if the person we're reading for is going through a period of spiritual exploration or spiritual revelation, we can expect to see this card come up, and then we would want to view this through the more spiritual lens. Now, what we've talked about so far are more so of the beneficial messages of the Hermit, but I'd like to take a look on the flip side. The Hermit can also suggest that the querent is seeking to escape reality. If I ignore it and avoid it, then I can pretend it's not real, that kind of thing. This is not a healthy impulse. Reality is full of unpleasant things, and we all have to deal with what is, even when what is falls short of our personal ideals. Therefore, it's important to be able to draw a distinction between taking a moment to recover from the unpleasantness and being in denial of it and running away. If the querent is actually in denial, then the appearance of the Hermit card is an invitation for them to reassess what they're doing and why they're doing that. And as we are doing their reading, we can help guide them towards that possibility. So that is the Hermit. Next week, we will be looking at the Wheel of Fortune. So I hope you will be back for that. But for now, I will see you in another video. Bye.